Hello friends, welcome back to my studio. I hope you're well. Well, last week I came to you from a very sunny spring day and we're back to winter. We're 2 weeks away from summer officially beginning, and I've got the fire going in the studio today. It's going to snow down to 600 metres in Tasmania, just south of here, and in Queensland they've got power outages and the power will be out for at least 3 days, they're saying. So we're getting all sorts of crazy conditions here, but it's nice that I can be in the studio and be cozy when the weather's not performing perhaps to the season. So let me share a few things that I've been doing in the studio this week. Last week I spoke to you about the tea bag papers, and I ended up going out and buying some different teas to do some experiments. And these are the 4 teas that I've got to show you today. So a regular strong black tea, a peppermint tea, a lemon twist, and a rose hip tea. I'll show you close up. This is the peppermint. So it's got a very slight green tinge to it, a yellowy green, much darker than, lighter than the normal black tea. I'm not sure whether I would use the much, but they look just perhaps a little bit dirty rather than this nice stain that the black tea has going on, the antique feel. And the one that I really like, and I think I will use a lot, is this lemon twist. So it's lemon tea, but it has got a little bit of orange peel and rose hip and hibiscus in it, and I think that's where those pink and red colours are coming from. And it's got enough of a variant to use, and because I use so much pink in my paintings, I think that's going to be a real winner. And the last one is these rose hip, and what I discovered with rose hip is it's very, very sticky, and I found it very hard to, it took a long time to dry, and I found it very hard to peel them open and get the contents out. So while it's a lovely rich colour, I'm not sure I will push ahead with the rose hip. I think just that delicateness that it's giving in that lemon twist will be the way forward. What was really lovely and interesting, I had this piece of paper towel, and I'll show you. So it's white towel like that, but I had the tea drying on it, and it's come out like that, which is really interesting, particularly this little one that looks like a little tree. So I'm not sure about the texture and how that would go in a painting, but I will be playing around with that as well. And I just love this antique-y edge that it's given. So yeah, I'm wondering what that might be like on tissue paper or perhaps a watercolor paper or something like that. It's bled through to the other side as well, so very strong. So as I play around with these different papers and things, I'll show you the results. And I had one other thing arrive in the post, and oh, my family all had a good chuckle at me. I can fit it in my hand. It's a little booklet of papers, journal papers, and I thought I was buying something maybe this size, and this is the book that's come. It's so teeny tiny, it's hilarious. It's got really, really beautiful papers in there though. I particularly like, it's got, you can see it's got solid paper and then these clear sheets. I can show you, they're transparent. Some I wouldn't use, but yeah, I don't know, they're so tiny, teeny tiny. So I've finished this piece since we last spoke. So that's what I'll show you the footage of today, is putting in these flowers to finish. And You might have remembered me talk about in a previous vlog this book that I bought, vintage book, and I use these flowers here as inspiration. I'll be doing more of these because I really like that I can get something done pretty quickly on this size. So this is a 12 by 12 inch compared to this painting here, which has appeared in so many vlogs now in so many different variations. The things you may notice, I've changed the checkered tablecloth colour again, and I've put a lot more colour, really ramped this shell up. I've put a little bit of decoration and detail into the jug because that was a little bit flat and plain. And there was also a lot of negative space. If I can bring it closer and still be in the shot. There was a lot of negative space here. So I've put this little rose in that jug, and I've changed the colour of that jug and the flower yet again, and I've changed the colour of the background because it really had so much negative space around it that it looked like the painting was just in here, and I had all of this stuff, and it's certainly necessary to have quieter areas and busier areas, softer and more textured, and so variation. But I had just unfortunately stacked all of the ingredients in the center and had nothing going on the outside. So I've increased the size of that shell as well to help, because that was all very much yellow through there. So what I'll do is put up a photo of the before, the most recent version you would have seen, and this, and you can see the changes that I've made. And it's really starting to work for me now. It's quite soft compared to more recent things. It's softer, so I'm not sure whether there's enough contrast in it, because of course areas of contrast, for example here and here, is where your eye is naturally attracted to. So you want someone's eye to move around the painting, and that helps hold the gaze and hold the interest. It's a bit of a trick. And it's why you don't have things that are pointing off to the side, because the eye will follow that and go out away from the painting, and the person will go, oh, well, I'm done with that painting. So you want your composition to keep moving the eye around and keeping the eye in the painting. So one way is to do that is the direction of things, and also in contrast. So where there's areas of strong contrast, the eye will be attracted to it. In this painting now, the contrast is here, here, somewhat going on here, a little bit here, a little bit over on here. But I think I might just, these purpley, these bits, I think I might just ramp up the contrast a little bit. This is a nice area of contrast here. It's always that play about having enough contrast, but also not bringing the background too forward. I think the other reason of putting these lilac shades on really helped push the background to the background, so the foreground could sit forward, and changing that tablecloth has also allowed that to happen. So it can be fun to have the background tipping forward, and that can help make, which I think I spoke about before in this piece, was having that topsy-turvy and making movement happen on something that's static, but it can go too much in that direction and then it doesn't work. So yeah, that's where I am on this piece. And yeah, I think just looking at it in the reverse, that I can see it now while filming, I think it just needs a little bit more contrast, and it will be done.